You might be using these English words wrongly without knowing. And see, native speakers notice immediately. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Learn English with Gifty. In this video, I'll explain 30 confusing English words in the simplest way possible. Watch till the end because the last 5 are the ones most letters mix up. For each pair, I'll give you the meaning and a simple example you can start using today. Let's look at these two words, affect and effects. Affect means to influence and effect means the result. So affect is a verb and effect is a noun. So for example, you can say the effect of the weather is my bad mood, and the weather affects my mood. Did you see the difference? Good. The next word is borrow and lend. Now, borrow means to receive and lend means to give. So when you say, I borrowed money from her, it means you received money. And when you say she lent me money, it means she gave you money. Okay? For say and tell, you use say when there is no person after, and you use tell when there is a person after. For example, she said she was tired. You see, no person after. But she told me she was tired. Now, me is the person after told. So you say, she told me she was tired. Got it? Up next is make and do. So when you say make, it means create. And when you say do, it means perform. So you make a cake and you do your homework. Okay? The next one is speak and talk. Speak is for formal and talk is for informal. For example, I need to speak with the manager. You see, it sounds formal. But when you say, let's talk later, that's informal. Okay? So, I know you must have heard hear and listen, right? Now, hear is for passive and listen is for active. So hear is a passive action. I hear music. But listen is an active action. I'm listening to music. Got it? These words trip a lot of English speakers, especially when you're not a natural speaker. You say look, see, and watch. They don't mean exactly the same thing, right? Look means when you try to see. For example, look at this. See means the natural sight. And watch means look at something for some time. So I see a bird and I'm watching TV. So for bring and take, bring means towards the speaker and take means away from the speaker. For example, bring the book to me, towards the speaker, and take the book to her, away from the speaker. Now, these particular words confuse a lot of speakers, sometimes even native speakers. The words are fun and funny. So when something is fun, it means it's enjoyable. But when something is funny, it means it makes you laugh. For example, the party was fun. The movie was funny. For this, we have advice and advice. Advice is a noun and advice is a verb. For example, she gave me an advice. Or for the verb, she advised me to rest. Got it? Next is lose and lose. Now, lose means the opposite of win, and lose means not tight. For example, don't lose your keys. My shirt is loose. Another one is this, than and then. Than is used for comparison, and then is used for time. For example, she's taller than me, and we ate, then we left. You see these three words? They are very tricky. The first one is they are, the second one is they, and the third one is there. Now, the first one means shows possession. The second one, there, it shows place. And the third one, they are, means they are. So, for example, their car is outside. The book is over there. They are coming soon. Same thing with your and your. Your shows possession, and your means you are, meaning your bag is here and your kind. Okay? Same rules applies to this one. It's and its. The second it with the apostrophe and s, right? It shows possession. That's the one without the apostrophe. And the one with the apostrophe and s means it is. For example, the dog wagged its tail. And it's a beautiful day. If you're still watching to now, you're doing great. The next words are the ones most learners mix up. Stay tuned. For few and a few. They mean almost the same thing, right? But few means almost none, and a few means some. Now, apart from that, you use these two for nouns you can count. Okay? For example, few people came to the meeting, and a few people came to the meeting. You can count people, so that makes sense to use. Gotten? Now, same rule applies to little. Now, little means almost none, and a little means some. But the difference between this and few is that you use little for nouns that you can't count. For example, time, water, and so on. So you say, for example, I have little time. You can't count time, so that makes sense, okay? I have a little time. Now, for many and much, you use much for nouns you cannot count. We call them uncountable or non-count nouns. For example, much water. And we use many for nouns you can count. We call them countable or count nouns. For example, many books. For during and while, the difference is this. During is followed by nouns, and while is followed by a sentence. For example, during the movie, while I was watching the movie. Here is another one, since and for. You use since to show the starting point and for to show the duration. So, I've lived here since 2020, starting point, and I have lived here for 5 years. How long? The next one is this, still and yet. You use still when you're talking about continuing. So still means continuing, and yet means up to now. Okay? For example, I'm still waiting and she hasn't arrived yet. Let's look at already and yet. Now, already means earlier than expected, and yet means until now. For example, I have already finished. And for yet, you say, I haven't finished yet. Gotten? The next one is between and among. So when you're talking about the middle of two things, you use between. But when you're talking about in the middle of more than two things, you use among. For example, share this between you and me. She is sitting among her friends. Gotten? Let's talk about beside and besides. Now, beside means next to. But besides means in addition. For example, sit beside me, meaning sit next to me. Or besides English, she speaks French, meaning in addition to English, she speaks French. How about house and home? Now, house is a building and home is where you feel you belong. For example, this is my house and this is my home. You see the difference? Good. The next one is job and work. Job is a noun, but work can be a verb or a noun. For example, I have a new job or I work every day. You see the difference? Good. Let's look at the next one. Trip, travel, and journey. Tell me the truth. You have mixed these words before, right? So I'll tell you the difference. Now, trip is short. Travel is a verb. So you don't use it as a noun. And journey is long and meaningful. Okay? For example, I went on a trip. I love to travel. And it was a long journey. Can you see the difference? Good. Let's look at remember and remind. When someone says remember, it is when you keep it in your mind. But remind is when someone helps you remember. For example, I remember her name and she reminded me about the meeting. Can you see the difference? Good. How about hope and wish? Hope is for something possible, and wish is something unlikely or imaginary. For example, I hope it doesn't rain. It's possible. When you say I wish I were taller, it's unlikely. Also, for maybe and maybe. So maybe means perhaps, but maybe is a verb phrase. So maybe she will come, for example, or she may be late. Do you see the difference? Good job. And finally, bring and fetch. Bring means come with something, but fetch means go and bring something back. For example, bring the book with you and fetch the book from the table. Do you see the difference? Good. Now you know 30 confusing English words that can completely change how natural your English sounds. Save this video, rewatch it, and start using these examples today. Which word pair was the most confusing for you? Tell me in the comments. Okay? If you want more lessons like this and you want to sound more natural in English, please don't forget to like, share with your friends, subscribe, and turn on your notification so you can have more lessons. And I post videos every week. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.